Folks, this Hangout on Air is live, and I am your host, DashV.
And I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Lizzie. And tonight we have a really awesome special guest.
I'm Eric Weil.
Hey, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us a little bit of a brief bio. You've kind of been all over the place.
All right, so I'm a indie game designer currently. I'm a former AAA designer for Sony Online Entertainment, which recently turned into Daybreak Studios, for those who don't know. I've worked in conjacent with Big Idea, based in Chicago when they were still there. I've worked with EA. I've worked with a couple local studios here in Colorado, and I do consulting as well.
Excellent. So what kind of, in working with those different companies and stuff, what IPs have you touched? What characters have you had the fortune of dealing with in gaming form?
Well, from gaming form, I guess I should start with Sony because that's where it all started anyway. Without that, I wouldn't have anything that I have today. So EverQuest, I touched a lot of their different titles, everything from pretty much the end of Luckland all the way up to EverQuest 2 just before it launched. So that would be EverQuest Online Adventures, EverQuest, and its different expansions from that point. They had a Mac edition of the game, which I worked on. PlanetSide, Star Wars Galaxies, just to mention a couple others.
Cool. That's pretty cool. What for Big Idea? That's the Big Idea VeggieTales fame, right?
Correct.
So what did you work on while you were there?
Well, at one point in time, I was really big into VeggieTales, and so was my wife. And I kind of came up with an idea with her. It was mostly her idea. I had a little influence on it because of being at Sony, of course. And I approached Phil about it. Said, "Hey, I'd like to make a video game with you guys." And we actually had a alpha build ready to show Phil. We did some demo stuff. We did some character designs, concept designs, some storyboarding. He sent one of his minions to meet us, and actually, I think it was in downtown San Diego. It's been a while, but he liked what he saw, and they wanted to move forward and go ahead and greenlight the project.
That's pretty cool. It's definitely pretty cool. How was the VeggieTales gang to work with? I hear it looks like in all the behind the scenes stuff, like they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with Chris, who was in charge of their interactive side, a lot with him. I really did enjoy the time that I get to spend with them. I actually ended up getting all my VeggieTale movies for free from Phil directly.
Wow.
But I never got to fly out to Chicago because right about the time that they were talking about having me meet on site is when they had their Chapter 13, and that kind of blew everything.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty cool. Not the Chapter 13, obviously, but the fact that you got to meet them, that you got to get the game or the movies directly, from them and things like that. Are your kids fans of VeggieTales?
Yes, actually, my kids used to enjoy watching VeggieTales. They don't watch it so much anymore because I think ever since they've changed to that new 3D model they're using, it's just not appealing anymore.
Gotcha. It's a new team, too, that's doing it, right? It's not the original team.
Correct. From what I understand, that is the case.
Yeah. So in terms of what you've done in the industry, that's kind of changed a lot, too, hasn't it? I mean, you've kind of worn many, many hats. Tell us just a couple of the hats that you've worn in the video game arena.
As far as when I was at Sony, I did a lot, actually, even though I didn't get paid much for it. But I started out in customer service on the IT side, doing, I guess you could say, help desk stuff. Slowly worked out of there, became a game master, worked a lot with in-game issues, and then they pulled me off to work on a special project, which was EverQuest for Mac, and that's where my development stuff really started to take flight. So, I mean, everything from customer service to IT, level design, character design, concept design, I did a lot.
Oh, wow. So what are some of the things that you did level design on?
I don't know if anything actually made it into EverQuest 2 or made it into any of the games that I did do work on because they never told me yay or nay. It was one of those things like, okay, we need this done, do it, because there's always a final approval. If it doesn't meet the final approval, it doesn't go in. But I never really played the game to that extent to really even see if that actually became reality or not.
Gotcha. Someone that you'd have fun probably talking with is Craig Stitt, who we had on the show back in August. He's known for, on the interwebs, he's famous for the Hidden Palace Zone, which is probably one of the best levels you never played on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because he put a lot of time and effort into it, and it never made it into the release game unless you were able to get to it using different Game Genie hacks and stuff like that. So and the new versions of the game that they've released on iOS and other platforms, they've actually fully remastered that set of levels that he originally did the graphics and design for, and so now, like, it's finally 20 years later you can play the level that he built and worked on all the way up to release. But according to him, he didn't even know until after the release that his level didn't make it in.
Yeah, that's typical of the industry. I mean, as you know, any type of designer who's not on the, I guess you could say, the top tier, you know, like your American McGee's, your John Carmacks and whatnot. I mean, we don't have the same approval rating they do. So if they say something, it's pretty much golden. We say anything, and they have to review, they have to look into. Half the time, by the time it gets in, we're just like, okay, it would have been nice to know that I got credited for that, but you know, that's just how the industry is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's part of the challenge of having, you know, a finite amount of resources, the most critical of which usually is time, right? Followed by money. But time can be a brutal mistress sometimes.
Very much so.
So, all right, that's pretty cool. So of all the hats that you've worn, I understand you've done some voiceover work too.
You know, the funny thing about that is it was kind of a running joke with me and a lot of my voice actor friends. They actually had me do a session once at a convention. It was one of those things that they just really didn't talk about, in a sense. They just wanted to see if Eric was capable of doing it. And I did pretty well. They actually thought the session went well. They, you know, said, hey, why don't you come down to Funimation and we'll, you know, do some time. And I'm like, dude, I'm not a voice actor. I don't have any interest in doing that. I mean, it's just not my thing.
Really?
Interesting.
Can you do one of your voices for us?
I could do plenty of voices. That's not the problem. It's just the fact that I just don't care.
Well, I think there's a lot more.
I respect the voice actors who do it. I mean, because I've got a lot of friends in the industry that do it. Like Todd Hapricorn's a good friend. You know, I've met a lot of them, and I still talk to a lot, like Ricky Simmons from Invader Zim. But the thing to me is that, you know, it's cool that they get paid to actually enjoy what they do. But the problem for me is that I just don't see a viable career.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it's a lot of more work than it seems to be. It's more than just talking into a mic, right? There's inflection and there's breathing and there's a lot of, and I'm not saying that flippantly. I mean, there's a lot of things that we kind of take for granted that make for a good audio performance, especially when you're trying to voice act what's going to be an animated character. So the delivery can be everything sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have some friends who do, you know, the dubbing for anime, and they tell me it's a pain in the butt because they have to match the mouth flap.
Yeah,
that's not always easy.
Yeah, the phenoms there, right? They have to match it up, and in anime, it's got to be especially difficult because the phenoms were never even remotely intended to be American phenoms, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, look at Dragon Ball Z. Could you imagine how much trouble must be for those guys going for like an hour?
An hour.
So Jeremy, I think you had a question about regarding some funny stories.
Yes. Do you have any crazy, funny, or unique stories from when you're working on a game or at a convention?
I got so many, it's not even funny. For gaming, there's one that still haunts me to this day because it kind of ruined my reputation for a little bit and also made someone at Midway Studios very upset with me.
So let's definitely talk about it on the show.
Well, let's talk about it then. So E3, it was my first year there, and it was, I think if I'm not mistaken, it would have been 2003, and that was the year that Deadly Alliance was actually at E3 and showing off the fact that, hey, we're killing off Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat franchise. So I was with a buddy of mine, and we were just walking the floor because originally I wanted to go check out Half-Life 2 at the time, and I think Doom 3 was there as well. And, you know, we're just having a good time walking around, and I stepped on this guy's foot, and I was just like thinking to myself, it's probably just some random, you know, convention goer at E3. And, well, I decided to open my mouth, and maybe I should have shut it instead, but it was actually Ed Boon of Midway Games. Yeah, not a good moment for me. But the thing that made it worse is that, you know, at that point in time, I was like, you know, trying to think of an apology, and then I saw one of my friends from Sony come. I was like, hey, Ed, have you met my friend Eric? And I'm like, oh, dear God. So yeah, that was not a good thing.
Yeah.
That was really embarrassing. Or the moment where I actually had to go to John Smedley's office to talk about stuff, and instead of calling me by my first name or maybe my last name, he said, "Matt Guy, get over here." And it's like, really? Of all things, you don't even know my first name. Thanks, appreciate that, John.
Hey,
Wow.
and as far as Ed goes, at least after you stepped on his foot, he didn't shout, "Finish him!"
Yeah, that would have been funny at least. No, he was a little irritated, but I hope he moved on years later because I don't like thinking of that moment because it's like I was supposed to enjoy E3, not be upset the whole time.
Yeah.
Now we have to get him on the show. It's like, do you remember this guy that stepped on your foot back in E3?
Yeah. You should hear what he said about your mama.
He probably doesn't even remember. I'm a small fry compared to him.
Yeah.
My goodness. My goodness. So, what was you talked a bit about working at Sony and everything already. Can you give us what was hard about working for Sony and what was easy about working for Sony?
I think the hardest part is just the name alone. I mean, geez, if you think about it, back in those days, Sony was the juggernaut. I mean, Microsoft couldn't touch Sony. Other studios tried to attempt to touch Sony, and they failed miserably. I mean, you had a lot of shoes to live up to because at the time, EverQuest was the most successful franchise of an MMO in the history of gaming at this point. I mean, we were actually the most profitable division of Sony. If that means anything, I mean, it should. So I think that was the hardest challenge, is just living up to that name alone and actually giving a quality product. That was the biggest thing.
Gotcha. Now, do you think that it would be? I imagine it's even harder to live up to it now because I don't think that the hater culture, if I can call it that, I don't think the hater culture, the cult of negativity, was as strong then as it is now. I don't think those social groups had kind of been able to blossom as they have now.
Well, you got to keep in mind it was a primitive time. I mean, the internet was not high speed at that point when EverQuest first hit the market. You know, the social media aspect was not a big thing. You know, game reviewers were actually mostly paid at this point by the big companies. So really, there wasn't much negative that you could say. What's the worst thing you're going to say about an MMO back in those days? Well, it's too long. I can't get my epic quick enough. I mean, what are you going to complain about, really? I mean,
Right.
it was a new market at that time.
And like you said, like who are you gonna shout to, right? You're gonna do it in like a mailing list.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember
go-
those back in the day?
Gonna go onto
Oh,
ICQ and tell your four friends on ICQ this game sucks.
On Yahoo Chat and all those things back in the day.
Yahoo Chat, yes. You're gonna go to AOL, right? Keyword, right? I hate this game.
Yeah, exactly.
Bling.
AOL keyword. Those are the days.
Remember that? Man,
Dial-up connection.
so what was the easiest part about working for Sony then?
I think the perks, man. Let's be honest. I could go up to the Sony store and be like, hey, I want that Sony dog. How much is it going to cost me? the perks made it nice. I mean, you got free games, free swag, free movies. They took you out to the movie theater to see Lord of the Rings. They closed down the whole building just to play Unreal Tournament. I mean, that was kind of nice. I mean, it made you feel like you were working for something legit. You know, that was probably about the easiest part I could think.
Nice. Very, very nice. So, you've functioned right now so far in a variety of different roles, and we've mentioned a couple of them here. But which has been your most fun? Like, if you could go back and like lock in a moment, a time period, a hat that you wore so far, what would that be?
I'd probably say that I'd still go with EverQuest for the Macintosh. The nice thing about that game is it had a community that was unreal. I mean, the game itself, yeah, even though it was based off the mechanics of the original game for the PC and they ported it poorly, but it seemed like the game was well thought out, well developed. They really tried to cater to the Mac community, and it was it was the highest achievement I got at Sony. I mean, I even got an award for my work on the game. So I mean, every time I'd go back to that because that's what pretty much made me stand out at Sony.
Great. So, on the topic of standouts, we're gonna break away from a bit from the action. We're gonna take the interview heat lamp off of you for a moment, and we're gonna dial it back a little bit, and we're gonna actually talk about pickups. So my understanding is that most of us here have pickups. Do you have pickups, Jeremy?
Mm-hmm.
So, but you can show off a little bit what you built last week. You got it up and running this time.
Oh, yes. The Retro Pie is all nice and set up finally.
Retro Pie.
That's what it's called. It's called a Retro Pie. I use a Raspberry Pi. I programmed the Retro Pie program onto it. Right now I got Battlefield running, but
My game.
Yeah, pre-show he had Blaster Master running on it.
so right now I got NES, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, Atari 7800, Game Gear, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Colors, Mega Drive, N64.
And he owns every single one of the
Of
physical
course.
games.
I dumped all the ROMs I have into it.
Nice.
I had my nephew playing the original Mario. I posted it on my Facebook. He was loving it.
Nice.
4 years old.
Nice. How's the lag on it?
The only lag I seen really was with the N64 ROMs.
Okay.
And it's pretty much I have to go in there and code a couple things real quick. That's about it.
Gotcha.
Like, I know Spider-Man was a bad lag. GoldenEye was a bad lag.
You should
Mario Kart
try.
was okay, though.
You should try Superman 64, my friend.
I can even running while you get stuck.
That's a modern masterpiece, from what I understand.
It is.
Mm.
He's in his room.
So we could definitely get that up and going. So Lizzie, any pickups this week?
Yes. I got the Gaming Legends back there. I've been collecting the Sonic comics since it's his 25th anniversary. There's quite a few that I've really been collecting, and the reason why I've been collecting them is because they really have that retro Sonic style, like from Sonic CD back in the day.
Yeah.
So I really, really do like them. This is a really beautiful cover. That is the Best Buds cover, so I had to have that one. And this one is actually drawn by one of my favorite Archie comic artists, Jamel Peppers.
Nice.
I love that guy. He's awesome. And he makes it look like Sonic 2 style.
That is
So it's
pretty cool.
yay. Awesome. I have been trying to collect those loot crates and arcade blocks, but some of the stuff that's in there just isn't me. So luckily, when people don't like something in the box, they sell on eBay.
Yeah.
So there was this arcade block edition of this, so I had to have it.
Excellent. And just so you know, anytime, Lizzie, that you get something in a loot crate that you don't like, I mean, feel free to send it my way. I'll figure out something.
Especially if it's
Okay.
combat, send to me.
Yeah, because see, this is my favorite because it's actually from like Sonic 3 style.
Nice.
When I saw the cover, I was like, hey, for some reason, I see that Sonic 3 Knuckles music playing because, you know, he's falling down going into Hydro City Zone.
Yes, so like Labyrinth Zone type. All right.
Yes, that was a kind of a hard zone. And of course, I got these two, which are actually more based off the actual games, like Sonic Lost World and Sonic Generations. These are really special, so I like collecting these because they're basically based off the games. So those are things I like to collect.
Now, do they do it do they try to just follow the gaming storyline as it was in the game,
Yes.
or are they like prequels or sequels to the game?
Basically, it's just a summarized version of like what the game was. Like the one for Sonic Generations, it basically just starts with Sonic's birthday party, and then everyone gets kidnapped, and Sonic has to go save
Worst
them.
birthday party ever.
Everybody's
Like
gotta,
Angry Bird.
yeah, and Sonic's gotta go save everybody, and this time Classic Sonic's with him, so that's really awesome.
Interesting.
I really like these.
So Eric, my understanding is you've had some pickups yourself, huh?
Yeah, a couple of them.
All right, you want to show off some of your pickups?
Yep, that's fine. All right, we'll start with the newer consoles first. Let's see. All right,
Newer
so,
consoles. I like the sound of that. That means there's older consoles.
All right, so yes, must have. I mean, what can I say about BioShock? One of the best shooters of all time. Of course, you know, since I have most of the newer systems, you got to have this one.
Yep.
Ooh.
That's a good. Oh, you got the one with Super Luigi U on there as well. Yeah,
I
that's the
played
one.
it the other day.
This one.
Spark. I've always
Now, the
wanted
only-
to try that.
The only reason I got Spark before I get to the next games is because I heard they had a development piece in it. Of course, being a developer, I was curious. And the
Mhm.
funny thing is, I haven't done much with the development stuff yet, but when I saw there was a Conquer game in it, that's when I got really interested. So let me grab the other system ones.
Here, Cap.
Oh, that's not good. Pulling stuff already. All right, so this one is a must also.
Injustice.
Injustice, Gods Among Us. Nice.
Yep. And then this one.
Raw.
Yep.
I'll take anybody down with Smash Bros. With Link. Just saying.
This guy. And I got 3 more. Now, 2 of these are extreme. Actually, all 3 of these are hard to find. So, the Originator on the Xbox.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A really rare game on the GameCube.
Dragon's Lair 3D.
Yep.
Nice.
And the scarce one of them all.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yep. So that'd be it for mine.
Nice. Now this might disappoint you, but I learned about Project Spark. I want to say a couple months ago, and I went to the website to find out more about it and everything. And on the first page of their website, there is an announcement that says Microsoft and Team Dakota are discontinuing support for Project Spark.
Doesn't surprise me.
So my understanding is I think the servers for that have already shut down.
So yeah, as far as the stuff that you want to develop to put up on the page, yeah, that would be correct. You can't do any of that. There's no more updates for Conquer. The game is finished at 5 hours. Yeah, which, I kind of disagree with Microsoft on this one. The problem is they marketed it wrong. They marketed it as a second-tier game, and I think that's what hurt them, because for all the games they talked about, like Titanfall and the one that's Dante on rollerblades, Sunset Boulevard, I think it's called.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so they had all these games above it, but they don't want to talk about Spark, and you wonder why the game didn't do so well.
Yeah.
Shame, really. They're lost.
Oh, I agree. I was looking at it as I was super psyched about it and everything, and then when I looked into it, I was like, oh, well, I couldn't get it digitally, and then I didn't know that they had a physical release on it, though. So.
Well, they still have physical copies everywhere. They're like $5.
Nice. Now, and so how's that work then? You can still develop stuff locally? You just can't push it to cloud?
Yeah, you can't push it to cloud, but you can do it locally. I was actually working on a level actually for about an hour or so.
Maybe I'll get myself a copy of that, because I had thought that maybe it was all, maybe I thought maybe it was only available in digital form, and that even if you bought it physically, I thought you had to cloud connect to do stuff. Knowing that you can do stuff offline, I might check that out anyway.
It'd be worth it.
Nice. So I had some pickups as well. I want to give folks a friendly reminder. If you want the extended battery pack for the Wii U, you probably want to order that sooner rather than later. They still have them if you go to the Nintendo store. These give you about twice the battery time on the Wii U gamepad with the screen as the stock battery that they come with. And they're not going to continue to stock these where they're not continuing to make Wii U. So.
How much again?
Oh.
How much was this?
Yes.
$30 to $40.
It's not bad.
What?
So it is kind of expensive, but it's like 8 hours worth of in a gaming session on the Wii U, you're most likely not going to quit because of battery, which I was finding myself doing a lot with the pack-in battery. So
I usually use a Pro Controller when I play games anyway.
So while I was at it, I also bought myself a Zelda-themed Wii U controller.
I like it.
Ooh, pretty.
This can also be used on the classic NES, the NES Mini. This is a legit Wii U controller. You can use it on both those consoles. So the end of this is not a GameCube end. It actually plugs into the nunchuck, or I'm sorry, into the Wii remote. And it works with all the classic console games. Works with Smash Brothers. Works with everything that you pretty much want to do it with, or GameCube games that you're playing in the Wii Virtual Console, it'll work with. So having a Zelda edition themed Wii U, it seemed like I should go ahead and get one of these. And this was also on the Nintendo Store. I want to say this was $20, but I don't remember for sure. We talked about Craig Stitt a little earlier. I got one of his favorite games that he worked on back in the day, Disruptor.
Oh, wow.
PlayStation 1. Yeah, so I sent him a Facebook message going, dude, look what arrived in the mail. And he goes, holy cow. He's like, I forgot about the best first-person shooter sticker that we put on the front of all the way he said it made it sound like he personally was like putting them on there and putting them in the box. I'm sure that wasn't the case, but that's how he made it sound. Now, I watched some. I haven't played this yet, but I watched some gameplay videos on YouTube before I decided to plunk down the money. I have to say, like, the YouTube videos make this look like a way better game than Doom, like the original Doom. I'm not talking Doom that just came out, but I'm talking the original PC Doom. Hey, you know, if people want to send me hate mail, send me hate mail, but play the game first before you send me hate mail because it looks amazing. It definitely looks like it was a step above Doom. Unfortunately, it released around the same time that Doom released for the PlayStation, so it kind of got drowned out and all that.
Whose cat is that?
Mine. She's in the dang window. I open a stupid window, and she acts like an idiot. I want to come in.
My goodness.
Stupid cat.
My goodness. So the last bit of stuff that I have, I kind of went nuts on Tomb Raider stuff this past week.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, Jeremy knows something that other folks don't know. So the first thing was kind of like, kind of akin to Lizzie's pickup. I got a Tomb Raider graphic novel called The Beginning, and this is a prequel to the game, the first game in the reboot series. So, and it's got some fantastic artwork. So, so I'm looking forward to reading that and finding out a bit more about what led up to her adventure there. I got the Rise of the Tomb Raider, the 20-year celebration edition, which has a booklet as well with artwork and things of that nature. So as well as obviously the game. So that was pretty cool. A friend of mine found this for $1 at a local thrift store. And it was the only original Tomb Raider series game guide that I did not have.
Nice.
So
Do you charge you $20 for it?
Well, you know, his time in traffic and, you know, shipping and handling, you know, it's hard work flipping that stuff. No, he gave it to me. He's like, here you go, man. You're a big fan. Enjoy.
I guess I'm a terrible friend in this group.
I also got this, which is the official art book for Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh, wow.
Which, just based on the cover, looks amazing. I haven't opened it yet, but I will soon. So with the reboot, whether it's the first game or the second game, I really love it. The art is fantastic. The attention to detail on everything that they've done with it is just fantastic. Which brings me to my last pickup, where things got kind of ridiculous. It's been lurking there in the background the whole episode. I managed to score.
Oh, wow.
This is a Rise of the Tomb Raider longboard, but this isn't just any old longboard. This was actually given to the developers of Rise of the Tomb Raider as a thank you gift for completing the game.
Wow.
So this is incredibly limited. You're not going to find like a million of these. Look on eBay, you're not going to see it. It doesn't exist on eBay. Here you can't quite make it out on the camera, but this is the names of all the developers, the key developers involved in the development of Tomb Raider. So yeah, this thing is going to be the artwork looks amazing. First of all, the detail that's put into the board is pretty amazing. And like I said, it's something that you're not going to find. You're not going to find through normal channels. So I'm going to be definitely figuring out a nice, a much better placement of it than over there in the corner, long haul. Probably mount it on the wall.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
In the gaming room. Yeah.
Yeah, put a plastic casing.
But oh my goodness, like if childhood me could see adult me right now, he'd be like, whoa. So
You also might also ride the skateboard too.
So well, you know, that's gonna be, you know, if there's a Ferris Bueller, right, object in this house, right, for somebody to take and do shenanigans with, that's the Ferris Bueller object, right? That is my Ferrari, right? If that ever got taken out, I'd have to take someone out. So my wife is quite the enabler, because she's all, you know, I go, you're totally cool with me, you know, buying this skateboard that I'll basically never ride, and she's like, it's Tomb Raider, I can't compete with Laura, that's fine. But you know, so in terms of as a gaming, you know, as a video game heroine, she's right, she can't compete. But between me and you guys, you know, Laura can't compete with her either, because, well, my wife is real and Laura's not, so so
she's real where it counts.
Absolutely. So last bit I got is I got a Zelda pillowcase set.
Ooh.
Which is kind of like, why would you get that? Like, what the heck? Here's the two pillows that you could see.
Is it going in your bed?
On the back there. But I went ahead and I got the queen mattress set too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the bedroom is gonna have two different themes that it's gonna alternate between. My wife was like, "Hey, those look good. You should go ahead and get those." And I go, like, the only room that's not been video gamified, and like, we're really gonna go there? And she's like, "Sure, just as long as, like, when those are in the wash, what do you think of this Phantom of the Opera bedding set?" And I'm like, wait, do I get to drool on Christine, or do I have to drool on the masked dude? She's like, oh. She's like, you could drool on Christine. I go, all right, Family Opera, I'm cool. That works.
Where'd you buy
Family
those?
Opera, Zelda.
So, good question. So the bedding set, actually, I got at the same place that I got a bunch of the other pickups before, like where I got the Mario stickers, or not stickers, but the magnets and all that other stuff. It's a spin-off of Hot Topic. And so it's what do they call it? They call it box lunch.
Yeah.
And the prices tend to be Hot Topic-y prices, and a little bit more expensive, actually, if you can believe that there's things more expensive than Hot Topic. But the gimmick is that for every $10 that you spend, they donate a meal to homeless folks.
Yeah.
So you kind of overspend on merch, but then you feel, you know, not so bad about it, because it's like, well, you know, this shirt helped me buy 2.5 meals for the homeless.
There you go, and that's, yeah, you know, that's actually worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if it meant helping someone else.
Yeah, and I don't feel bad. Hopefully they're good. They're good meals, right? Hopefully they're not like getting them like Fries for Friends coupons or something like that. But
Peanut butter sandwiches.
line up peanut butter sandwiches for everybody. Come get your gruel. You know, but no, if the company, I got to go look it up to make sure it's like totally legit. But you know, if the company really is kind of trying to do, you know, charitable works and all that kind of stuff, I think that's worth endorsing.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Jeremy knew already about the skateboard, but I had him sworn to secrecy.
He knows where I live, so I can't really go blabber.
So Eric, you've done a couple of things for a couple different games in different capacities. Is there anything that you've done so far in a game where it went in the game, it was there, and you've been able to be like at with a friend, or maybe you're showing your family and you're like, look, right there, that's me, I did that. Or that was my idea.
To be honest, since EverQuest is so big, Star Wars Galaxies is so big, PlanetSide, to be honest, really, what do you say? Like, that object right there, that was me. You know, and in fact, who plays the game anymore? I mean, Star Wars Galaxies got shut down, PlanetSide got shut down, EverQuest Original, I mean, who really even plays the original anymore? So really, there's not many accolades I could just say, hey, look, check this out. I mean, I created this in EverQuest Online Adventures. Oh, wait, we're getting an error 402 because it can't connect to the server. You know,
Do you have any?
There's not really much you can brag about.
Do you have any video, or have you seen any video online for any of that stuff, or is that? I mean, a lot of that predates YouTube even.
Well, I mean, there's some stuff that's floating around still for EverQuest and PlanetSide and Star Wars Galaxy, but the thing is, though, even if it is, the problem is claiming homage makes it hard because me and Daybreak really don't talk anymore. We're just kind of like, I exist, they exist, and we just leave each other alone.
Gotcha. Gotcha. He doesn't come over, kick your cat, or anything? I see that. I'm saying that because I see the cat in the background there. The cat's looking out the window at something. There's something that's very intriguing to that cat. I'm wondering what it is.
It wants to believe it's an outdoor cat, but it still hasn't figured out it's indoor yet.
Kitty, 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 kitty. Just tell me, is it a dude out there with like Tomb Raider merch? Because I'll be over there.
I didn't see the cat.
It's to the right of him. Can't you see?
No, because we're all covering it.
Oh, okay. Well, I got him. I gave him the floor. You can't see it?
No.
Oh, Kyle Schwab. Hang on a second. Kyle Schwab just commented on Facebook on my link. Let's see what Kyle has to say. For folks that have seen the show before, they know that Kyle was a regular on the show about a year ago. Welcome back anytime, Kyle. Just send me a message down in the doodly doo. We'll get you on the show. We'll make it happen. Let's see what Kyle has to say. Well, that's anticlimactic. What was the pickup? Kyle, watch the show.
I just responded on Facebook, so.
Seriously? Like I just showed the pickup on the show. Watch the show. My goodness. Maybe it's lag. Maybe he's behind by about 5 or 6 minutes. Super Rad is saying Ultra Squish Cousins Brawl.
Yeah, I understand what he was trying to say.
I don't know what you're going for, Super Rad. That sounds like a party I wish I had the invite to.
Well, speaking of like all those things going dead, okay. Eric, I'm curious. Crash, and I make fun of Crash a little bit because people used to joke and say that if Sonic and I had a kid, that'd be our kid. So, how did Crash go from being the mascot to now he's dead, and all of a sudden, poof, he's just showed up?
Sony's desperate for someone to lead the way for their console. It makes sense, but why would you resurrect someone who's been dead for so long? I have no idea.
But why the heck does it look like Sonic?
Well, you got to keep
green
in mind
eyes, the things.
Sony is desperate at this point to basically get someone to represent it. Because think about who's going to represent the Sony console. They don't have anyone to represent it. Well, I mean, I could volunteer, but I don't know if that's a good choice.
Oh, I'd say volunteer. They could pay me.
Yeah. I definitely think the challenge for them is like I mean, generally speaking, they don't really make mascotty IPs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, they do.
So, well,
they've done it before. It's called Piano Vive for EverQuest. That was their mascot of the online side. But here's the thing. Sony is doing well as far as their console. We all know it. We don't need to lie about the numbers. It's pretty obvious they're still spanking Microsoft pretty bad. But it's because Sony finally understood what the players wanted. They said, okay, you know, that was great. The PS3 had the streaming ability, but you didn't play your PS3 for streaming. You played it because you wanted to actually have good games and good content. But the PS3 had a really bad launch right out the gate. There's like, what, $600? And that was for the 20 gig with no wireless. Dude, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that's a lot of money for a game console. It really is. I don't care what's driving it. So by the time they figured it out, they got the 60 gig backwards compatible system, which was a good system, minus the fact of the YLO and the Arlo, if you will. But that system was a great starting point, but then they put the Slims out shortly later, and you're like, dude, the Slims are a joke. They're like entry level. They feel generic. They feel cheap. And then they put out that Ultra Slim, and let's not even go there with the whole sliding top. I mean, come on, guys. So really anymore, I think, and it's nothing against Sony because I own Sony stuff. I still respect their product. I just think that there comes a time where you got to sit there and say, hey, we're doing well at what we do. Let's keep going down that road. Let's not try to basically get an IP title now because we don't need one. We have plenty of good games on our arsenal. We don't need that.
Yeah, and I guess that's really what I was getting at was that I don't see them like they haven't really put a mascot forward in several console generations, and not for nothing they haven't really needed to. So I think Crash isn't necessarily coming back to give, I don't think that they're coming back to try to give Sony an icon or a mascot. I think they're really just trying to bring it back because they think that there's going to be a big enough market of folks that liked Crash, that miss Crash, and want to see him again.
And to be honest, and this is because I work at Toys R Us. The biggest thing that's selling right now, and I don't understand why, it's Five Nights at Freddy's. How can kids like such an ugly looking thing?
Okay, so
my friends' kids are into that stuff.
Okay, so Five Nights at Freddy, let me explain why that game is popular, because there's a mystique around the game. That's the reason why it's popular in the first place. Because if you actually look at the gameplay and look at the creepy factor of it and all that, it's loosely based off the Chuck E. Cheese shootings that happened here in Aurora, Colorado. And I think that's what makes the game appealing to people, because they're like, well, that's kind of creepy. It's based on that. There's teenagers that, I knew that I went to high school with that died in that shooting. So to me, I'll never play it. I have no interest in playing a game like that. But think about it. It builds a mystique that no one else can build upon because it's different and unique.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. That's interesting. I don't really know much about that one. I'm going to have to go look that up after the show.
It's scary. But here's something else I learned during Black Friday and all that stuff at Toys R Us. Skylanders had this starter pack set, and they had they had a Crash edition. That thing was selling out because kids were just buying that thing like crazy. And people kept asking me, are you going to get any more of the Skylanders with Crash? I heard that they're selling the figures in a 2-pack. I go, I haven't seen them. I've seen online what they look like. And I don't like who's with Crash because that's just butt ugly. But the Crash figure, I would love to get myself.
Is that the character's actual name, butt ugly?
No, but it looks like some kind of messed up version of Yosemite Sam. So I'm like, you're ugly. I will get it for Crash and put him with all my amiibos. But that's about it. But then again, when it gets to the news, they just announced the trilogy of the game coming back.
Yeah.
So does that mean, is he going to replace Sonic one day? Because the way Sonic's going.
No, I don't think that can. I don't think that can happen. I don't think Crash has quite that following. That'd be like Rayman, right, taking down Sonic. I think and Rayman I think has a bigger following than Crash. But I think that what's interesting to keep in mind is that there's different demographics, I guess, that these folks kind of appeal to, and I think that Sonic has more appeal across age ranges than Crash. I don't think it's impossible for Crash to kind of cater to the same age ranges, but they'd have some work to do there if that's what they were trying, if that's what they're specifically trying to do, because Sonic has different games with different gameplay styles that can appeal to younger ages as well as older ages. So whereas Crash, I think they'd have to flesh out more of the, you'd have to do more than a trilogy of platformers to kind of do that. Same thing with Ratchet and Clank. Like I got, that was a pickup that I showed a couple of months ago. Ratchet and Clank for the PlayStation 4 looks absolutely amazing. Just like Ratchet and Clank, the first game that I played on PS3. Again, it's like, wow, okay, now you're finally showing me what I expect a game of this console generation to actually look like. This is absolutely amazing. I'm looking at the lighting, and the lighting is absolutely spectacular, and it's real lighting. I'm moving the character around to make sure, like, oh no, wait, like when the lighting's coming through the blinds and casting shadows, like that's like legit lighting, because if I move the character in there, the lighting casts over the character in the same way as the ground. So it's just absolutely amazing. That said, does it replace Sonic? Heck no. They're different games, I guess, for different different folks, or even for the same folks, different times. There's times when I want to play a Ratchet and Clank game, and then there's going to be times that I want to play a Sonic game.
Well, you got to keep in mind that Sonic actually was in Wreck-It Ralph. What does that say for Sonic?
Oh, he was
He's doing pretty well. Yeah, he was.
I haven't seen it yet.
Wait, are you talking about the sequel or the
first one?
He's the one who warns you not to basically go into other games.
Oh, I didn't remember that. I remembered Bowser was in there.
Well, yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
Think about it. Nintendo didn't want to give up Mario, so they're like, you can get our afterthoughts with Bowser, because no one cares about him.
Afterthoughts.
Well, the other thing.
Yeah, and now
too is-
apparently in the sequel, he's going to be in it.
Yeah, the other thing too, Lizzie, I guess I'd keep in mind is that Sonic is everywhere, right? Sonic is on just about every console, both portable and living room based.
Mobile?
He's on PC. He's on mobile phone, right? Crash is coming back on a platform, so not for nothing. I still think that the Crash fans that have been waiting a while. I'm hoping that they get what they want, and I'm definitely not downing any Crash fans, but I don't think that there's going to be a battle royale of mascots where Crash is going to like ascend to the tippity top. I think
it would take him quite a while because it's like, well, there's this big chunk of space that you missed because Sonic and Mario kind of owned it for quite a while.
Yeah, to me it'd kind of be like Gex, right? Suddenly coming out of left field and like just eclipsing everyone as like the ultimate mascot. Like it could happen, but I'm not.
No, Gex.
Remember who challenged Mario?
I wouldn't bet
64?
money on it. What was
You
that?
remember that challenge that was issued, which I think that Rare did a good job with Conker, but Conker challenged Mario's throne pretty well for the 64, and he almost took it.
Yeah, and I think that was legit because, and I know Jeremy, cover your ears. I'm hard pressed to have the number of games I think are worth owning for the N64 hit the double digits.
That's blasphemy. You know it.
Well, okay. Maybe if we count Superman 64.
I can give you a top 50 list, and those are all worth playing.
All right, go. Give me a top 50
Well, I
list.
can sit there and write it out.
Oh, look at him! Look at him backpedal now.
I said I could. No, I'm gonna do it right now.
No, again, I'm not trying to down N64 and all that kind of stuff, but I think there were definitely there were some. Mario 64 was good. I think the Zelda games on it were good. Mortal Kombat trilogy on it was pretty good. But there was a lot of I think both Sony's in the first generation of the PlayStation and Nintendo in the 64 generation, both of them doubling down on it has to be 3D or we're not shipping it. I think really hurt them because in my mind, I missed the N64 when it was out because my uncle owned a PlayStation. In fact, the PlayStation 1 that I currently have and all the games that I have were his, much like many of the other, we had talked before, like my Atari and things like that. But, for me, a lot of the PlayStation games that I'm willing to give a pass, even though the graphics don't hold up, like Resident Evil, Parasite Eve, Final Fantasy VII, yes, I went there. Like, a lot of these games that graphically don't hold up on today's displays and in today's, against today's games, it's totally because, like, 3D was not ready. It was too early. It was not... It was passable on a TV where the resolution was so crappy that we didn't know how bad it was. We didn't know if it was, the TV or what. But when I go back to N64 and I didn't play those games in the time, so I don't have the nostalgic connection to them, it's hard for me to go back to a PlayStation game. Like I love Lara Croft. I love Tomb Raider. It is painful to go back and play the first 3 games in the series when compared to today. But I can do it out of nostalgia, right? And I've been through it already. I have a really hard time doing the same thing with N64 because I just don't have the connection. Versus I can pick up Super NES games, I can pick up Nintendo games, right? I can pick up any one of these other console games, and I don't have an issue with it.
Well, I'm triggered.
What's that?
I said, well, I'm triggered now.
I tried to clarify, Jeremy, that I don't think that the system is bad. I don't think that people that like games for the system are bad. I just think personally, doubling down on 3D before the tech was really there to handle it was a bad move, and it makes those games not age as well as games that were, say, 16-bit, 8-bit, and even pixel art graphics.
Okay, we got something from Super Rad. He said, have you guys heard about the news about a TV adaptation of Streets of Rage and Altered Beast being worked on?
No, I haven't. Eric, did you hear about this?
No, I haven't heard about it.
All right. No, we haven't heard about it. Eric didn't hear about it, so it can't be real. I'm just I'm just
Get in here.
I'm just kidding. Lizzie's still trying to get her cat in from outside.
I'm still in the loop.
I'm gonna mute you for the moment, Lizzie.
Oh, that's
If
fine.
they're trying to do a game like Rage or Ultra Beast or Golden Axe, I would say no, it's not even worth it because the only people it's going to appeal to are those who actually like those games, which there's not that many fans of.
So I would agree with that, and I would add the question, like, is this made for TV movies? Is this like an actual? They're talking about doing an actual television series, or what? Give us more info, Super Rad. Like, do you have a link or something?
I'm looking at it. Let's see.
I think it's interesting that they're trying to take old gaming concepts and maybe bring them out. But I would think like maybe a Streets of Rage movie might be more.
That's what I think it is. It's a movie for TV. It's a movie, but it's going to be on TV.
I still think it's a terrible idea.
It's horrible.
But I do think that you could come up with enough story to last like TV, hour and a half length. I don't know that you could make it go on for like 6 seasons.
It wouldn't even make 2 seasons.
Okay.
Supposedly,
advertising company.
The producers of The Walking Dead are involved.
Yeah, and Strata Compton. That's going to be interesting. Let's see.
More power to them, I guess.
This is
I guess
right
as
here.
long as they don't go the route of, we've seen this in Doom, we've seen this in Tomb Raider, in Mario Brothers, right? Like, why do they feel the need to work in sound effects from the actual game into the movie at some point, right?
I'm actually fine with that.
Well,
You got The Rock trying to pick up a brick, and he's like,
I'm actually okay with when they do that.
In the movies, let's be honest, there's only 2 that really are worth speaking of. I'd say Warcraft, and then Mortal Kombat. Because if you want to talk about Postal, forget it. You want to talk about Double Dragon? Oh, let's not even go there. You want to talk about any other game that made it to a movie? They're just not really worth anyone's time because they were poor. The adaptation was poor, and the quality wasn't that great.
I would absolutely agree. I think part of the problem is, they don't necessarily. I think sometimes they only kind of like half-baked go into these movies. Like, when you're using all not known actors and you're using like first time ever writing a screenplay people, and when the director is like, known for such, wondrous reindeer gems as, Postal and things like that. Like it's like, how are you expecting that a great movie is going to come out of this? Like, what is wrong with you?
Or you can change around the storyline like they do with Dragon Ball. Like, yeah, the fans aren't going to notice that.
Right.
Yeah, and you got that Sonic movie coming pretty soon.
Yeah. What I think would be really interesting, I think Sony could actually do it though, right? Like if Sony Studios came out with like an Uncharted movie.
Mega Man?
No, Uncharted, right? If they actually made a movie
but you know what it's going to be called? It's going to be called Indiana Jones 5.
He's got
a point. It'll be better. It'll be better than Indiana Jones 4 was.
Yeah, we don't talk about Crystal Skull. No one does.
What's funny is if you watch the behind the scenes for Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, right? Like they're talking to everybody, and like they show George Lucas, and he's like so excited about everything, and then they show Harrison Ford, and he's all like, "Oh, I was happy to be back in the saddle again." They get to like Steven Spielberg, and he's like, "So Harrison and George call me up, and they tell me their idea, and I'm like, 'You're serious?' And they're like, 'Yeah, we're serious. We want to do it. We want to do it.'" He goes, and they're so excited. Like, he goes, "What else can I do?" Right? He basically like admits in like the behind the scenes, it was just kind of like, I ain't got the heart to tell these guys that's an awful idea. Fine, we'll just do it.
It makes sense. 1 was good, 2 was horrible, 3 was good, and 4 sucked.
So I mean, you make a 5th one.
The only problem that I had with 4 is that it was like fan fiction.
Yeah.
It was very much like fan fiction, like unflattering like fan fiction. Like, everybody gets a trophy. Right, like fan fiction, the mega happy ending fan fiction type deal. But hey, I'm just glad that Shia was able to get some honest work. Shia, if you're watching the show, we'd love to have you back at any time. I know last time you were on the show, things did not quite go the way that you expected. I apologize for that deeply. We're a better show now, so we welcome you back anytime.
Mm,
That was before your time, wasn't it, Lizzie?
Yes, it was.
probably.
You got to go back. You got to go back and watch the Shia LaBeouf episode.
Okay.
The rant at the end is quite awesome. Like,
Okay.
no, it's a rant for the ages. So
That's
all
the
right,
one.
so yeah, I'm with you though, Eric. I think I don't know, producers of The Walking Dead, that was a successful show, and you said also Straight Outta Compton, Jeremy.
Mhm.
So maybe I guess at least I can't say that it's getting the same treatment as some of those other games. So got in terms of their movie adaptation. So this sounds like it would be a legit team to actually work on it. So
It's still gonna bomb, I bet you.
we'll see. Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
you're
think,
so nice.
how do you? That's like making Double Dragon the movie. Like,
That was a terrible movie.
why would you do this, right? Give me a new Tomb Raider movie based on the reboot. That'd be badass, I think, right? Or give me a movie that's not one of the games, but give me a movie that's like a bridge between Rise of the Tomb Raider and whatever the third game is going to be.
It should be a football movie based off Atari.
They're gonna do an Animal Crossing. Imagine.
Jeremy would watch the Animal Crossing movie.
I actually like Animal
That's like
Crossing.
if Sony basically said, "Hey, let's do an EverQuest movie." I don't think it'd do well.
No.
Would
No,
you
there
do
was
that?
almost. I think it was John Woo almost did. He almost did Metroid the movie.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, he ended up. There's a big write-up about it. He was pretty heartbroken over it. He had the option for it twice, and both times the option had to expire because he wasn't able to get a script past Nintendo because at the time that he developed it, it was before Other M. It was before the Metroid Prime series. There wasn't really a lot of backstory about Samus or her character, and so he tried to invent, backstory. He tried to give the character, life and all this stuff, and Nintendo was like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, well, I can't have the movie just be like the game only, like,
Real life.
yeah, you can't have a character walking around not talking to anybody or anything and just shooting stuff, or you're gonna end up with Doom the movie, right? Like,
Or Pixels.
so, but I guess Nintendo was like, if there's gonna be a backstory for the character, we're gonna write it. And he's like, okay. And they're like, we're not ready to write it yet. And he's like, and I guess this movie.
All you do is have Michael Bay direct it. You don't need no talking.
Yeah,
that's
man.
true. That is true, right? And like I don't know. I'm torn. Like, would I? If the only thing the Metroid movie had going for it was that it was Megan Fox in the suit, would I watch it?
No.
I
Right?
would.
I'm gonna say hell yes.
Why?
Of course,
The
I
whole
respect
concept-
your acting skills.
I'm one of the outliers that also thinks that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot movies aren't bad. So
I still haven't seen
No,
it.
actually, the second one's pretty good. I like the second one.
I'm glad to hear you say that because I'm still
Only
wanting to
for
watch that.
Rocksteady and Bebop.
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen either.
Rocksteady, Bebop, and Krang is in it.
Yeah, that's what makes the second one better.
Yeah, the second one's definitely better.
Nice. So, but that's not. I guess the first wasn't excellent material to kind of,
That's me.
follow from. But I guess I'm biased because I went to watch it with my son, and we watched it at the drive-in, and they were doing a special. So my son and I both got into the drive-in. At the time, he was under 12, so he got in for free, and I only cost $5. And so for $5, I got to see the movie, and then there was a whole group of us that were going. So we basically 25% of the drive-in was us. Like, we had blankets, and there's like a giant parachute, and we had a beach ball that we were keeping up on the parachute, and there was free pizza and soda. There was a live band playing an acoustic version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles nonstop until the movie actually started. So we were pumped for the movie, and then the movie began. So I think some of the euphoria maybe was not from the movie, but it was still a great time to be had. So
I love it when they put that much into it. You're like, yeah, that would make you really excited for something.
yeah. So that's one of the great things about living in the Bay Area. So folks, that's been our pickups. That's been our talk with Eric. So we appreciated you, Eric, giving us a giving us a walk down memory lane for you of some of the stuff that you've worked on previously and some of the likes, dislikes, etc. Also really cool to see that you're still an active gamer. Sometimes we'll deal with folks in the industry that they kind of were gamers at the time, but then, you know, sometimes the industry can kind of burn you up, burn that out of you. But it looks like you're still alive and kicking as a gamer.
Oh, yeah.
What games are you looking forward to at 2017?
Let's see. Kingdom Hearts, the new one, if that is 17. I don't remember if it was or not. The new Kingdom Hearts looks appealing. The Norman Reedus game that they're talking about looks interesting. Trying to think what else I saw. The rumors of BioShock, or not BioShock, but Borderlands, but I think that's going to be 18 or 19 at this point. Haven't really seen too much beyond that.
What about the new Marvel vs. Capcom?
You know, I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of jaded about the series, and it's not anything personal, but I mean, I've been collecting the series since Heroes, okay? And that's been since the PlayStation original. The problem I have with it is that since I collected all the Marvel vs. Capcom 2s, yes, even the one on the Dreamcast, it made my collection worth something. And then Sony and Microsoft decided to actually make it a free, or not free download, I think it was like a $10 download, so you could play the HD version of it. So my copies of my games have now become worth nothing, and it kind of irritates me.
Wow.
But I know if they don't do it in the same style as 2, and it's not like the graphic style, but more from the style that I had a lot of characters to choose from. There was a little bit more depth to the boss fight. If they don't go that direction with the new game, it might not. It may just be one I pass on.
Okay, because from that trailer, it's kind of cool to see Mega Man X and.
Yeah, having Mega Man and I think it was Miss Marvel as well as one of the characters I saw in the trailer. But here's the thing, what's going to save the series? Well, if we look at the last few fighting games that have come out that are based on legacy titles, Tekken, Street Fighter, they're missing the point. What made fighting games good, even Mortal Kombat, if you want to throw that one in there, is that they're missing the point. The fans don't really care about a backstory that really is not relevant. Let's be honest. They want a good fighting game that's balanced, with good characters. You know, they want to have a good environment, good lighting, good texturing, and something to make it worthwhile again. I mean, when's the last time you played a Tekken where you felt excited to play it? I can't think of a recent Tekken that really made me feel excited, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the online one where you pay for every match that you're going to fight in didn't really tickle me.
No. Well, then, you know, look at the new Mortal Kombat. Even though I got to admit, okay, they had a couple characters that were interesting. I liked Farah and Tora. They were actually fun to play. But overall, the story really just disappointed me. It's like, wait a minute, you're telling me that Sonya Blade somehow tolerated Johnny Cage long enough to give him a kid? You got to be kidding me. They hate each other. They can't even get along. What the hell is this about? So whoever wrote the story for the last game really did a shit job, because the one for 9 at least made sense.
My goodness. But speaking about what's something that's not a crap job, we'll end off here. Like, my understanding is you've got quite a bit of artwork, you know, art pieces there in the case behind you. My understanding is that your wife is also a bit of a creative person too, huh?
Well, she actually worked at Sony with me. She actually did some stuff with Star Wars Galaxies.
Awesome, awesome. Do you have any pieces there ready to you can kind of show off to us of stuff that she's not necessarily Star Wars Galaxies, but
yeah. Give me a second.
She's done.
She did this for a competition for, God, I'm trying to remember what it was, but she did it on a hat for something in Wichita to win some, I can't even remember what it was, but that's something that she did. Ooh, actually, forgot about this one. Hold up.
Yeah.
So this is a BJD. It's a Borderlands character, and she actually did all the paint work on it and actually the outfit as well. So
that's pretty
kind
cool.
of looks like someone from Borderlands, kind of. Just not as doesn't have the meat cleaver or the attitude. That's for damn sure. What else I got? Hold up. Where is my custom clamp trap? Ooh, I know he's here somewhere. Where is he? No, maybe not. Hold up. Give me 1 second. Okay, so that was one she put together, an anime character.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, cool.
It's quite an angle too you're giving us right now.
Sorry about the angle. I know that that's the wrong angle. But yeah, she's very creative. She's actually helping me on my tabletop video game right now. Well, sorry, tabletop. It could go video game. It just depends on who ends up getting involved in the Kickstarter for it. So.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. I'm glad that we went this direction with the topic. Maybe we'll have you back on when you get closer to announcing the Kickstarter.
Yeah, I probably will announce it sometime next year. I know I'm going to probably do it at a convention I'm speaking at. I just haven't figured out which one because it's still in pretty. It's not even alpha phase. It's more of concept right now. So.
Gotcha. So you're thinking she'll help you work on some of the game pieces and things like that?
Yeah, she's going to help me with the figures. She's going to probably end up drawing up the map for the game. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of what game I saw recently on Xbox, their community that was kind of similar. I think it's called The Hand of Fate. It's like a card-driven game that's on an Xbox 360. It looked pretty interesting.
Oh, awesome. Do you have time for a bonus question or two?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Now that we're on this track and stuff, what's it feel like to have you worked on projects with your wife before? And if not, how's it feel to be working with your wife on a project?
We worked on the VeggieTales game. She was a lot of the driving force behind it because, I mean, my art skills over the years have been kind of going downhill, especially if you don't keep up on it. But she really helped influence a lot of the design. I did a lot of the storyboarding and concept. So it was kind of nice to work with her on the VeggieTale game, even though it didn't happen. As far as other products that we've worked on, we've done a couple others. We were working on a game called Toy Box. It was kind of like a backstory to how the characters in Pixar's toys learn to actually speak and communicate with each other. The game never made it past alpha. I just couldn't get any studio interested in it. Then obviously the new one, which is a tabletop we're working on, which makes more sense because I've got more time to work on it. It's more realistic, and since I speak at conventions anyway, I could actually beta an alpha at a convention, and I don't have to charge anyone for it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Well, we definitely want to hear more information about that as it gets closer to announcement and closer to fruition or kickstarting. So keep in touch.
Not a problem.
All right. Folks, we're at time. So this has been Retro Reload, and we've been here with Eric Weil. And we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Super rad. We want to thank you for your keeping us updated there in the forums. I hope we didn't scare you away with our pessimistic views toward the Streets of Rage or Alter Beast series. We always appreciate folks' comments, in the chat and everything, and appreciate what it adds to the show. So tune in next Tuesday. We're gonna have an extra special Christmassy themed surprise for you guys. So you're definitely gonna want to
together.
Yeah, we may or may not be getting the band back together. So you're gonna have to tune in to find out what's going on.